All right, we're gonna look at an animal cell. I always like to start with the three basic parts of an animal cell. You basically have your plasma membrane. This clear substance is called the cytoplasm, and then your nucleus, which is encased by a membrane. When we talk about the cell, the nucleus is your command center. He's going to be in control of all of your organelles. Your organelles are the tiny organs that you see out here in the cytoplasm that have a specific shape, specific function. So the nucleus is the command center. When we look at the nucleus, we're basically going to say that you have this structure right here, which is called the nucleolus. And if you look closely, the nucleolus's job is to produce ribosomes. Now, ribosomes are going to literally leave the nucleolus through the nuclear envelope, through these pores, and they're going to come to the cytoplasm and attach, which are these white dots or ribosomes. So the nucleolus's job is to produce ribosomes. Now, enclosed inside of our nucleus is our DNA, which is tightly coiled up with protein, and we call that chromatin. So DNA and protein is going to be coiled into little structures called chromatin to keep the genetic material basically condensed and compact inside of the nucleus. The job of the nuclear envelope is to regulate the passage of substances to and out of the nucleus. All right, so now I'm going to go through the organelles. The organelles are little organs that are going to be in the cytoplasm. Now, the first organelle that you see that's in green is net-like. It is basically net-like. So the word for net-like is reticulum. And then on the outside, you can see ribosomes are attached to it. So if you actually feel ribosomes on one of these models, you would feel that they feel rough in texture. So this is called the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Now, when you cut the reticulum in half, you do see that it's got a blue membrane in there. So there's a lot of rough endoplasmic reticulum on this model. So you look for the green and the blue. If it has ribosomes attached to it, it's part of the rough endoplasmic reticulum. Now, the job of the rough endoplasmic reticulum is going to be to synthesize lipids. So it makes all the membranes inside of the cell. What I mean by synthesize, it synthesizes membranes. So the rough endoplasmic reticulum is going to form part of our plasma membrane. It's also going to modify any proteins that are basically being made by ribosomes. So the function of ribosomes are to synthesize proteins for the cell, and that is the rough endoplasmic reticulum and our ribosomes. So one more time, rough endoplasmic reticulum, the word rough is for the ribosomes attached. Endoplasmic means it's within the cytoplasm. Reticulum means it's net-like. So here's some rough endoplasmic reticulum. You can see it everywhere, even here. Now, there is a smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The word smooth means that there's no ribosomes attached. Smooth endoplasmic reticulum you can see here. You can also see it here. You can see that there's no ribosomes attached. Now, this one does have three jobs. Its job is to synthesize lipids. Its job is to detox the cell and store calcium. So the difference between the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth is the presence of ribosomes versus no ribosomes. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum has three functions. The next organelle that I want to go to is this one right here. This one is called the Golgi apparatus. The Golgi apparatus is always stacks of flattened membranes. And the job of the Golgi apparatus is to basically sort, modify, package any substances made by the cell. So our rough endoplasmic reticulum makes membranes and it modifies proteins. And the smooth endoplasmic reticulum makes lipids. His job is literally to act like a FedEx. He sorts, modifies, and packages substances made by the cell. Okay, the next organelle that I'll cover is the mitochondria. Mitochondria, when they're cut in half, look like little burnt sausages, but when they're intact, they look like hot tamales. The job of the mitochondria is basically to produce ATP. This is the site of cellular respiration, and it produces ATP, which is the energy currency of the cell. Now, with the organelles, this is a factory. You need to have a way to clean up your cell. So we have two cell organelles, which are going to be janitors. Now, these right here are called your peroxisomes. Peroxisomes are going to contain hydrogen peroxide, and when you think about hydrogen peroxide, it can clean wounds. This is basically going to detox the cell. It's going to help you break down fatty acids. Its job is literally to just help clean up the cell. Now, lysosomes, on the other hand, contain digestive enzymes, and their job is to get rid of any worn out organelles that quit working. So digest old organelles. It is going to digest nutrients brought into the cell or any bacteria or foreign particles that comes into the cell. So you have peroxisomes and lysosomes, which act as your janitors. Now, this structure, which is close to the center of the cell, is called a centrosome. The centrosome is the microtubule organization center of the cell, which is going to be used during cellular division. Now, I'd like to note that anything that's circular usually ends in some. You have your peroxisome, your lysosome, your centrosome, and then the white dots are your ribosomes. Now, your plasma membrane is a selectively permeable membrane, which is going to regulate the substances entering and exiting the outside of the cell. This last structure that you see here, this is a vesicle. Your vesicle, you can see here, is going to be created by the rough endoplasmic reticulum, but its job is going to be to deliver substances throughout the cell. So if something is coming into a vesicle, we call that endocytosis. If we're releasing a substances outside of the cell, it's called exocytosis.